Okay, guys, want to do a little bit of a more lighthearted video, but something that actually pertains to employment law here in Florida. Behind me is a picture of a gentleman that is a former security guard of a Florida hospital that is being referred to around the country as Paul Flart. The reason why he has that name is that for the past 6 months, during or at his job, he recorded himself passing gas or flatulence while on the clock. This is what his video looks like. You get the idea. Okay, anyway, so apparently while he was on the clock, he was videotaping himself doing this, and his employer found out and fired him. So let's talk about two topics and how this involves employment law so I can at least bring this ridiculous/funny story into context and put an employment lesson into it. One, he got fired not because he passed gas, right? But because he was on the clock using his personal cell phone for personal things, such as recording this. Look at this guy. Okay, so that's why he got fired. And that's a legitimate reason for firing here in Florida, is that it's considered time theft. So the lesson to be learned for Paul Flart is that if you're on your employer's clock, okay, you cannot use that time for your personal benefits, such as taking selfies and videos and things. And especially as most employers have a policy against personal cell phone use, he violated it. Part one. Okay. Part two is that he's on company property, which means if you're engaging in conduct, even if you're on the clock, that is detrimental to the company's reputation or embarrassing, you could be fired for that. You could be fired even when you're not on company property if you hold yourself out, such as we had a former potential client who was caught sniffing cocaine and recorded it and put it up on one of the social media sites. And he got fired for that even though it wasn't at work. So the lesson to be learned there, A, if you're on the clock, you could be fired for using your personal phone for silly things such as this. B, you always represent the company even if you're not at work. So if you do something silly and put it up on social media, you could be fired. Lesson three to be learned. Let me give you guys one more snippet. Okay. I think you guys get the idea. Here's the last piece, which I think is interesting. There's a chance that if he wasn't recording this, okay, and he had a gas problem at work, and they fired him for it, that might be covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Believe it or not, if he has a stomach disorder, which I don't think is the case, I just thought he was having some fun, and notified or advised his employer that he may have a gas problem and might need accommodation, such as being able to walk outside or use the restroom more frequently, and he got fired for it or refused accommodation, the law may actually protect Paul Flart in that situation. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, here's the kicker, if you will, of all of this. When Mr. Flart got terminated, which was also on video, his employer actually asked him for his uniform back. Would you really want that uniform back if you were the employer? Silly employment law lessons for the day. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. Mr. Flart is now a celebrity, if you will, online. Good for him, I guess, but he's unemployed. Hopefully he's picked up some lessons for his next job, or at the very least change his underwear. Have a great weekend, everybody.